Do not need any more manufacturers. What we do need is more installers, because without the installers, the manufacturers are redundant. I'll tell you what the industry doesn't need, and that is more manufacturers. We got enough of you guys. We got to start thinking differently about architectural sheet metal. Anyone with deep enough pockets can go and buy a standing seam metal roofing roll forming machine. They can go and buy a brake. They can start bending trims and start selling material. To be a manufacturer, a good manufacturer, you got to have big bank accounts and you have to have a huge backlog of clientele. But that's not why I'm making this video. The whole reason why I'm making this video is to get the message out that more manufacturers is the wrong direction. Okay, we're heading in the wrong direction. We do not need any more manufacturers. What we do need is more installers, because without the installers, the manufacturers are redundant. There's no need for manufacturers. There's no need for flat stock manufacturers, right? There's no need, because there's no one to put it on, right? They'll have piles and piles of panels sitting there waiting to be installed. And I really honestly think that the farther down that rabbit hole we go, more people are going to try and find other alternatives, right, to metal. They may not want to endure the wait times that it's going to take for them to get their roof done, right? Because everyone, nobody can keep up with it because there's not enough people to put it on. So I recommend, or I'm going to put forth this new idea. I'm going to put forth a revolutionary idea. It kind of dawned on me when I was thinking, okay, which way should I go? Because in my area, the norm is that you run an installation company for a certain period of time. You run it for a certain period of time, and then eventually, because you're in business long enough, you start to realize that installs aren't a very consistent business model, right? Installation businesses are the variables are all over the place. So once you start to learn more about business, the installations start to become more of a liability than an asset. So what starts to naturally happen, especially when you start to learn more about business, is what is one product that I don't need to really train on that much, that is easy to reproduce. So the more we learn about business, the less we actually consider installations a viable business decision, right? It's a hard path to go down. So naturally, I mean, we want to stay, as metal guys, I think at heart, especially if you start out in the installs, if you want to continue in business, you don't really want to leave the market you've been in for X amount of years, because it's what you know.
If you go down to the description below, you'll see a link to sign up to a newsletter. We post a lot of discounts to our courses, latest and greatest partnerships we're doing, where you will receive a lot of benefits from. Sign up and we'll see you in there.
You're familiar with it. For you to go on to another business would take more time. You'd have to learn more things. So you want to stay in the industry that you're familiar with. So what's the natural progression? And a lot of guys in my area, and across the board, you kind of see a lot of guys leaning more into manufacturing. They start to see a business model that is more predictable, I would say. Yes, it comes with its variables, but not to the extent of installations, right? Installations, weather, for example, could throw the budget off if you don't account for it. And you get to a point in business where you just stop caring about losing money, so much money based on unpredictability. All you want to do is you want to start making money. That's why you got into business, to make profits, right? So when you're tired of losing money, you're looking for different opportunities that are more predictable. Manufacturing is a really good option for guys who want to throw the towel in on installations but want to stay in the industry. So I think I've beat that one to a pulp. I want to introduce a new way of thinking. ASM 101 is it goes deeper than, say, in-person training. I'll tell you. I'll start. I'll give you a short version of a long story. The whole reasoning behind ASM 101. Part of the mission is I was in line to be an educator years ago, right? They were grooming me to become a teacher at the Union Hall. So I have this innate teaching ability that I don't know, I'm good at showing people what to do and breaking things out into bite-sized chunks. But so that's like, I would say the core of ASM 101 is that I have this teaching bug within me, and I have the patience to teach people. But it goes a little bit further. I up until ASM 101, I had been running the business for about 10 years or so. And being in the business, again, you start to see the holes in every part of it, right? And you start to see the roadblocks. What's preventing me from scaling the business, whatever. So once you start to realize the problems, you start to, well, for me, I like to come up with solutions to problems. It's very much like on a roof. You get to a scenario, you want to figure it out, and you use what you've gained, the knowledge you've gained over the time that you've been in the trade to address that problem to the best of your ability. So it's another thing innate within me. Maybe it's because of my German background. I don't know, but I like to solve problems and come up with really, I'd like to come up with solutions that make sense, that don't take away from any, quality or efficiency like that. It's got to all work together. The solution's got to hit every point. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, guys want to go. Here I am. I'm at that stage. Okay, so we're at 9-10 years owning Alpro Sheet Metal. That's my contracting company right there. We're at the about 9-10 year mark, and I start to get the itch, right? Because at that point, you start to really, for me, I started to get really run down in my business, and it mainly due in part to staffing and scaling the business with people. The inability to find the right people to help scale that business. Training in-house wasn't an option because you train them and they leave, right? They go and start their own company. So what I thought would be a really good idea, my solution to that was to develop a kind of like a business in a box for them. So when the itch came to them to want to leave the company to start, I would say to them, listen, let's work this out. Maybe we just pay you a little differently, but you want to retain these guys in such a way that works for them as well as it works for you, because you don't want them to go. You've put so much time and invested so much effort into training these guys. You don't want to lose them. So I started thinking, okay, how do we keep these guys in our wheelhouse, right? Or yeah, I guess that's the right term. How do we keep these guys in our network, and I developed, let's get these guys in the right headspace for installing, right? Because as a business owner myself, it's all on me. The end result is when I get paid, not the end of the week. It's the final the final product. My finished job is when I get paid, and how good of a job I do, and how we run the crew and how efficient we are. So basically, my mentality wanted to like breathe into my employees, and I thought, how are we going to do that? Well, I thought, okay, since they're going to leave anyway, let's start to build up a system for them to not only get what they want, but also for me to get what I want too. And that was business in a box, basically saying, okay, here's my bookkeeper, here's my system on pricing jobs, and I just help them to become a sub. And then I say, in turn, we will feed you work. And I know, guys, you say, oh, the sub model doesn't work.
A quick word from the sponsor of this video, ASM 101 Online Training. Head over to the training tab at www.asm101.com, and you can see that we have a couple trainings up, only more to come. If you guys are willing to invest in some of this online training, it just goes right back into the channel and helps me get more training modules up.
I think it can. I really think it can if you do it right. You don't jump into it. Like, I think a lot of guys do the sub thing wrong, where they don't build up the guy before he, you want to just find a crew that says that they can do it, and then pay them tens of thousands of dollars to go and screw it up, and then you got to fix it anyway. That's the wrong way, and I believe that that's what everyone refers to when they're talking about subbing. But I think there's a right way to do subbing, and I think if you have a training program in place, you can do it. So anyways, going off on a tangent, back to what I was talking about. So this system, this kind of mindset, this thinking, this approach to retaining good, talented people, this sub model kind of made its way, injected itself into, or kind of evolved into ASM 101. Because I thought to myself, okay, if I'm training these guys to do that, then I can help other business owners achieve that. Like other business owners who aren't so, how would you say, like competent in roofing themselves. They're just a business owner, and I know there's a lot of them out there. They're just good business owners. Offer them the ability to train and retain their guys the same sort of way, right? Maybe they train their guys, and maybe they're having the same issues where they train their guys and they start to leave. My point is that this whole mind shift of, because business owners get to that position where they're like, installations don't make sense anymore, we're going to go to manufacturing, that needs to stop. What we're doing, okay, and what you as a business and what we can help you do too, ASM 101, is train a crew and get them to a point where they can in turn subcontract for you. But we're doing it the right way, right? We're training these guys up. You can, like what we've done, we've modeled it or created an employment model that it's a journey towards becoming a sub and getting paid differently. But for now, we're going to focus on training you and building you up, and eventually we can do the sub model. But for now, we need to train you up. And at ASM 101, that can be done. We can help with that. We can, you as the business owner would hire us in, and we would work with these guys within your company and get them to a stage where they can literally just be their own crew subbing for you, if that's what you choose to do. That's what I chose to do, and it works great. If not, you just create a smoking in-house crew. So here's the point. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Instead of closing the doors on installations, okay? Think of it like, instead of manufacturing panels, we're going to get into the manufacturing of skill. Okay, we're still going to be manufacturers, but we're going to get into the manufacturing of skill and create more installation, create more installers, but create more installation as an output, right? Rather than materials and fabrication as an output, right? Let's make installation the final product that we sell, or gain, as an offering, right? Because I know that in and of itself will transfer to more predictable outcomes in the installation process, right? If you introduce education and training into the business, these guys will start to get their heads on straight, and they'll be a lot happier at a place, working at a place that worries about their career development. And then also they have this option, this kind of like, not carrot on a stick. No, that doesn't work. Who the hell wants to chase a carrot on a stick? It's like this big, really, it's like a I don't know, Big Mac, this Big Mac of an option. At the end of all of it, they can decide whether or not they stay on as a full-time, payroll employee, or, we can develop them into this exit from that, 9-to-5 job and get into the business world, in a sense. I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it with the sub right now. He worked for me for 2 years. I trained him. He was already, comfortable on a roof. He came from the shingling world, right? He was a union shingler. But this guy had this really keen eye for details and all that stuff. So, when that happens, when you get somebody and you're like, man, this guy's got something special, right? How do you capture that? This is how you capture it. Offer them a career path. Offer them that big, juicy Big Mac at the end, right? Because you know what they're going for. They want the fat number on the check, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, I'll tell you right now, if you're the employee looking for that fat number on the check, it comes with good and bad things, right? It's just, if that number on the check means more to you, but get into business and you know what I mean. But that's a conversation for a different time. But, through education and this, I'm doing this right now, and he's doing jobs for me. I'm his sole provider of work, right? But also he is able to fit more things and dial up his income if he wants. He's not stuck to the 40-hour work week. He can go and throw on a roof, like do a shingle roof in between, and really dial up that, or not, and just get fed by us, right? Because we've gained that reputation in the industry, a lot of repeat clients, and it just goes to him, and we just feed and feed and feed. I like this because I've transferred, and he is still excited about what he's doing, right? He wants to continue on in this career. And I believe if we'd have continued, if I didn't have any of this stuff in place for this guy, he would have left and went and worked for somebody else. and the cycle would have continued, right? I would have lost him. He would have fell out of my network. He would have gone and worked for my competition. They would get a smoking guy. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't be, I don't know, like you'd lose the opportunity to continue growing with this guy. And, because there's no apprenticeship in this trade specifically, there's no real incentive to progress, right? Because at some point it's gonna, like, you can't go from one company to another and have a guaranteed hourly rate like there is in other places that have tickets and certification and qualification, right? So I want to I want you to consider reaching out or subscribing to the channel, because we're releasing stuff like this more so now. I want to build up the community, really get our message out there, let you guys know what we're up to and what our intentions are. So check this video out on screen, kind of over here, maybe, about the state of the trades and the state of our industry. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Okay.